Let's go, baby.
What's up, man?
What's up? What's up, dude?
How you doing, bro?
Feeling good, man. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was full of turkey, man.
Dude.
It was full of turkey.
Did you eat a lot of carbs?
Dude, way too much carbs. 5 pounds. Gained 5 pounds.
Did you?
Yeah, I gained 5 pounds in 5 days.
Nice.
And I'd wake up every morning and eat more pie.
Yeah, I had 3 pieces of pie for dessert on Thanksgiving.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, man, oh, dude, it's 1 a.m. Yeah, I could eat 2 cookies right now.
Yeah, like why not, dude?
It was just
it's Thanksgiving weekend, bro.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving week and the Thanksgiving weekend and the post Thanksgiving, and I was just like, okay, all right, let's dial it back in here. So,
dude, I mean, every time I try to watch The Girlish Figure, dude, I always get my ass beat down by some turkey dinners, or we go on vacation, and then it's like, oh man, yeah, you're just on vacation, dude. It's not gonna be that bad. Take it easy.
Yeah.
You can have some treats and some snacks,
Mhm.
And as you get to be my age too, dude, it just gets a lot harder.
Dude,
man.
my age, bro. You just unless you're 20.
You know what it is, dude? It's the freaking food
Yeah.
in this country, man, that needs to change, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of poison and chemicals in it.
Mhm.
That's for damn sure.
There is, man. And it's, I don't know if I talked about this on here before, but my sister was telling me a couple of months ago, and I've read a lot about it over the years, and it's like my sister, my niece is in Prague, right? So my sister had to take her over there and move her over there. She's a teacher over there, and she's teaching English.
Cool.
Yeah, so she wanted to do that for 1 year, and I don't know, she's pretty amazing because she's only 20 years old, 21 years old. Yeah, she's 21 or maybe 22. But yeah, she's just like, yeah, I'll just move to Prague.
That's awesome.
And she's there by herself, and it's like no big deal.
That's some confidence.
Yeah, that's huge confidence, right? But my sister's like, all the food, they don't allow all of the ingredients that they allow in the States. She said, and I can eat anything over there. You can have breads, you can have pastas, you can do all of those kind of things. And it doesn't affect you. You don't wake up feeling sick. You don't feel like groggy. You don't feel all of those things. And granted, I mean, every loaf of bread is going to have carbs in it, right? But the way that it makes you feel, and what is that Brecka talks about? Gary Brecka talks about that's in, is it folic acid?
So I know what there's too many crazy ingredients, but there's
the one thing that Gary Brecka talks about is that there's, and I believe it's folic acid. And Alex, if you could look that up and like make sure I'm not spitting out a bunch of dumb bullshit here, but it's the folic acid, and the folic acid is recreated and added to a lot of the stuff that we eat, and our bodies don't like that. Our bodies don't need it, don't like it. For whatever reason, the government started doing it, say 30 years ago, or adding it as mandatory.
Yeah, it is folic acid.
Folic acid is added to many breads and baked goods from wheat flour in the United States, Canada, and other countries. This is done to help people get enough folic acid in their diets. Folic acid is more easily absorbed than naturally occurring folate, so it's used to fortify foods. And this is what Brecka is talking about, is that a lot of people are not feeling well because of this folic acid that is added to wheat products.
Dude, Jess's uncle, their family went to Europe, and he, has gluten problems and all these things he can't eat in America. And he went out there,
no problem,
everything.
Yeah,
felt amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the story I've heard that story countless times about the food in Europe. Alex, can you pull up the treats, like American ingredients compared to European ingredients? And you'll see that it's
like the red dyes, the yellow dyes, there's all of that shit that's in there.
Oreos or Chips Ahoy in Europe, has like, I don't know, 10 ingredients. But the Chips Ahoy in America has like 40.
Right.
It's freaking crazy, dude. Oh, like for instance, McDonald's fries.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, we lost
Hey, it's back to me. How are you?
McDonald's fries, dude. as so addicting. And dude, it's so true, man.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder
So
if
what
it's
does it
just
say in there? Potatoes, vegetable oil, right? You know what the ingredient dextrose, we don't know what that is, right? And
yeah,
anytime I've always been told if you don't know what the hell, if they use these big ass words, that means it's bad.
dimethylpolysaccharin.
Right.
If you
Right.
can't even pronounce the word, don't eat
Yeah, don't eat it. Right.
it.
But you think RFK Jr. is gonna fix all this shit?
Man, I hope so. We could be getting played, you know. I really hope so, and I believe I
Yeah.
try. But you know, it's like how many times have you know, politicians said they were going to do stuff, and then once they get in to do it, they don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's happened a lot.
Do you
You know?
think would you call RFK Jr. a politician? Or
I,
would you call him an activist, or would you call him just an attorney?
yeah, that's an interesting a way to look at it. I would say you got to be a politician to play politics, you
Mhm.
know. But
Mhm.
you can come from you have different intentions. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the difference because yeah, an active. I love that. You know, maybe he is an activist and but co- you know from the family he comes from. You know, he comes from a family of politicians.
They don't like him though.
I know they don't, do they?
You know? It's like, "You leave now."
Gosh, I hope so, man. I hope the whole Maha make America healthy again. You know, I
Mhm.
hope it's real. Yeah, because it's scary what you know. Let alone we have the choices to eat what we get to choose, you know, if we're gonna eat the pie or, you know, we're gonna have some fruit instead.
Mhm.
But, you know, with our kids, the kids and the youth, you know, they don't really have the parents have choices, but then, you know, when they're in the schools and when it's just all around them, it's really hard to keep chocolate, keep Reese's Pieces and, you know, McDonald's fries away from kids.
It's hard to keep away from
From
me.
yeah,
I'm
speaking
telling you, that Halloween candy, listen, we don't get trick-or-treaters around our house. I don't know why we don't get trick-or-treaters. It might be because a couple of neighborhoods down,
it's just
there's like
Halloween town.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
children's city out there.
Yeah.
And we're in more of a more secluded place. Our area in our cul-de-sac doesn't have street lights.
Yeah.
Our lights on our houses have to be on all night,
Right.
and that's what they use for the street lights. So and I don't know if that makes kids like deters them from coming over to our house, but I'll tell you the Halloween candy
Just sitting
that's
there.
left over
Mhm.
is the whole bag.
Oh,
And
yeah.
guess who eats that whole
Oh,
bag and
yeah,
is gone in
baby.
about a week? Every night I grab some more treats out of
I
there
know.
and I knock back some more Reese's peanut butter cups and yeah, that's
It's such a crazy habit that you just
yeah.
get so, accustomed to, like, "Oh, I'll just have a couple," you know, and then, you know, "Maybe I'll just have a couple more and just have a couple more." You know, we had the Rock and Run for Life by Music, and there was a few these candies left over and stuff, and Halloween too.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was all right around the same time. It's like, dude,
Just knocking them back.
just knocking them back, dude.
Yeah.
Before you know it, there's just this humongous pile of plastic wrappers. Like, oh, dude, what
That's
are
what
you
my
doing?
nightstand looks like.
What are you doing, man? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough, but I do really hope. I really hope that Kennedy and Trump, they all, you know, they they stick to their guns because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are in power right now that don't want them in power,
Right.
and they're gonna do everything they can to not relinquish that.
Why do you think they don't want him in power?
Because he's just different. And he doesn't, you know, he doesn't play the politician game,
Mhm.
you know, at least from what it seems. I think you got
Yeah.
to kind of dip your toes into the water a little bit to know how to, you know, fight off and drain the swamp. You got to get in the water, but
I don't know. I think they have a lot of shit to hide,
yeah,
especially now. And so they're trying
they're
to
damnedest. Yeah.
yeah, they were trying their damnedest, you know. And I don't know if this in particular is a government situation, but
An
today
elite
this
situation.
morning,
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
today this morning, um the CEO of United Healthcare was shot and killed outside of his hotel in New York City.
Jeez.
And they have images of the gunman. right? And he had a backpack on. He waited for him to walk out of the hotel, and then he shot and killed him.
Oh my
So
god.
they do know that, like this guy was doing
This
this.
is like an assassination.
It was an assassination, right? And so I had seen later on in the news cycle that apparently NBC had called his wife, and asked her, was did you have any death threats or was there anything going on like that? And she said that there was some of those things happening in the recent months. And so that's all I really got to hear about this situation. Alex, can you pull that gentleman up?
Ay, ay, ay.
He'd been the CEO of United
Oh
Healthcare.
man.
Yeah. So yeah, look at that. So he'd been the CEO of United Healthcare
Oh
for 20
no.
years,
Oh
right?
no.
Terrible.
Ay, ay, ay. Whew.
And
Just walking right in the back like that.
yeah, man. Yeah,
And
shot
that
him.
happened this morning.
That happened this morning. Then the guy jumped and fled on a bike. He ran down the street. I believe he dropped his cell phone too. They found a cell phone in the alley, in the
Whoa.
alleyway, and then he jumped on an electric bike, like one of those city electric
Yep.
bikes. Did they find him, Alex? Did they catch him?
The suspect remains at large.
Wow.
I don't think so. I'm still checking.
Wow. Was privileged by the subset used a city bike which can be tracked.
Yeah. But I think he ended up dumping the bike in Central Park. So the bike, had GPS on it.
Now, United Healthcare,
Uh-huh.
what company is that?
So United Healthcare is a healthcare provider in the United States for, health insurance. It's
Mhm.
like, I believe we have United Healthcare. So
Right.
They still
Yeah.
haven't found him.
they still haven't found him.
Nope.
Alex, do you know if we have United Healthcare?
No.
Yeah, you're too young. You don't have to go to the doctor, bro. You don't ever have to pull out that card.
Yeah, be happy about that one. That was damn that's scary, man.
Yeah.
Because
Like, is that another government situation where they're like, okay, this dude is not wanting to do what we want him to do, so we're gonna gun him down too? Or is that just a complete fabrication? I just made up sitting here.
sure.
I tend to think post COVID that not so much fabrication,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, totally. The alternative theories.
Yeah.
What you sounded crazy saying. Yeah, I'm like, no, dude, it's not conspiracy theories. It's alternative theories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't buy into everything that you're fed. And that's partly why I've been really unplugged from social media.
Yeah. You
We don't
pulled the
really
plug
watch.
on it. You still
Yeah.
have that not on your phone, right?
Yeah, still.
Okay. So you didn't put it back on the phone, check some shit, and then take it back off?
No, I
Okay.
haven't. I have. What's funny is that I have TikTok on my phone, but I never use TikTok, so I don't have any like compulsive, reason. I don't go to TikTok,
Yeah.
but it's on my phone. But Instagram and Facebook, I'm just like, I want to get on.
You're
What's
in it.
going on? What's going on? And I'm just wasting time, and part of it is not just wasting time, but also feeling, and I think I mentioned this when I first took it off a couple weeks ago. Just it's like you gotta post stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I just want to do stuff,
Yeah.
but you have to post that you're doing stuff.
That's what it's so crazy because it's like, why do people have to watch other people doing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Instead of just going out and doing that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I have found a little bit of a loophole because I do have YouTube on my phone.
Okay, so you
I have
get a
YouTube.
little bit of
Yeah.
content going
But
on.
see, with YouTube, like it's not like specific people, or I'm like watching what my friends are doing or what other bands are doing or what other business guys, it's not like a YouTube. There's just videos up, and then I can go watch like a UFC video or I can watch a music interview video. but it's still.
I just watched some Conor McGregor the other night. I was like, oh man, I got to see this fight again. It's really good.
Sad about that guy, man. His downfall. But then he even mentions.
Well, he sold his whiskey for $650 million. He's all good.
Yeah, I know, but is he all good? It's like the money thing is great, but it's like, dude, he got a sexual assault charge.
Yeah,
and it's.
But I think that has, and I mean, I don't know, all that shit's still pending, but.
No,
a lot of those things
are like he's a convicted, it's like he got.
So is Donald Trump. Donald Trump was convicted too. Did you see that story?
Oh.
Do you know the story of Donald Trump's conviction for sexual assault?
I know that it was a big plot against him.
Yeah. So there's this lady.
I'm aware of that. Yeah.
There's this lady, and I can't remember what her name is, and it doesn't really matter anyways. But this was like in 19.
We're gonna talk about Trump, and then there's gonna be someone like these MAGA heads.
They did that on our last video,
MAGA
right?
heads.
MAGA, you people. They called us you people.
It's pretty light.
We are YouTube people, but we're not you people.
We're two people on YouTube.
YouTube people. But no, there's this lady, and so what New York City ended up doing is for 1 year and 1 year only, you can break the rules and go back and charge somebody with a crime past the statute of limitations.
That's right. I heard about this.
Right?
Now you're reminding me. Yep.
Yeah. And so once they did that and passed that for 1 year, the year that Trump is running for office, they had a lady come up with a story that he sexually assaulted her inside of a dressing room. She can't remember the day, can't remember when it happened. There's no witnesses, nothing at all, but he lost. Right. And he had to pay her $91 million.
Damn.
Right. Yeah.
Damn. So that's like Dunzo. He's paying $91 million.
Well, he's appealing it, I'm sure, but he had to put the $91 million up. Right.
Wow.
And then for the other conviction, which there was no one at harm, that they're saying that he, inflated his net worth in order to get better real estate financing deals. Right. Nobody gets hurt, even if that were the case. But he got convicted of that, and he had to put up $348 million.
Jeez.
Right. And although Trump is a billionaire, there's not many billionaires that have that kind of cash on
laying
hand.
around. Yeah.
Right. It's most of your cash is in your investments, because if you had that much cash laying around, it's not invested making you money.
Right.
Right. You don't just have it sitting like, oh, I'm just going to keep the cash over here. I don't need it.
Yep.
Right. Or in case I want to buy something else, you have it invested in something. You have that money working for you.
Right.
That's what you do with those kind of dollars, especially. But yeah, just really, really
shady.
Yeah.
The thing with Conor McGregor too, though, it's like you're right. I mean, but there was an interview about him talking about his, when he has a mansion for his mom and a car for his girl for every day of the week, and his kids have, and then he says it'll be worth it that I lost my mind, kind of thing, and it'll all be worth it. And it's like, it seems like there's another video on YouTube I saw. It was like, the road to hell. The road to heaven feels like hell, and it's like him winning the belt, and like his face is bleeding, and then it's like the road to hell feels like heaven, and then it's just him underneath, like from like last month. He's just like smoking a joint and like just sipping looking like a doofus on something,
Yeah,
and it's like the difference.
But have you seen the Lamborghini boat he has?
yeah, that makes it all better.
I mean, money definitely isn't everything.
Yeah.
It definitely can't buy happiness or any of those kind of things. makes things a little bit easier.
But have you ever seen a Lamborghini yacht?
Exactly.
Can't buy happiness, but have you seen a Lamborghini yacht?
Yeah, put a smile on anybody's face on any given day for at least a minute or so.
Yeah.
There was another couple of things that I was looking at and watching over the course of the Thanksgiving weekend. And it was kind of going back to the food thing. Tucker Carlson is back in Moscow, and he is going to be interviewing, I believe, one of their ambassadors to the United States, or maybe it's the minister to the United States, something to that effect.
Mm.
But there was another video on there that he had done like 8 months ago, and it was grocery shopping in Russia.
Moscow. Yeah.
Yeah, like what is it like to go grocery shopping in Russia? And everybody in the United States claims that everything is empty since we've put the sanctions on them for everything that they've done in Ukraine and whatnot. Yeah, you go into grocery stores and there's nothing in there. It's scarce.
Mm.
Well, he goes in and grabs a shopping cart. First of all, when he grabs the shopping cart, he's got to put 10 rubles in this
Just
little
get
lock
the cart.
to get the cart, right? When you park the cart back, gives you the 10 rubles back. Smart idea. Then we don't have people walking around with shopping carts all over the country, right?
Yeah.
So it keeps you honest, right? So he goes around, he does his shopping for the week. And what they had all calculated, him and his production team calculated that this is about $400 worth of food for 1 week today in the United States. And his total in Russia came out to $103.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's when you really start to question more and more about what the hell is going on with our government and this country and how badly it needs to be fixed. And the great, the great purpose of Doge.
Yeah, Doge. I was about to ask, what do you think about? Do you have faith in Elon and Vivek?
I do. I have faith in them. Right now there's a lot of stuff going on with, they're mentioning a lot of stuff of the ways we can cut costs, right? Mm-hmm. We can cut costs by doing this. We can cut costs by doing that. We can cut costs by doing this. But there's some stuff that I was reading about that I thought was like really, really interesting. And one of those things was, and Elon's been talking to a lot of people in Silicon Valley about coming over and writing software for the government, right?
Oh.
Doing a lot of things under AI that can make the government more efficient, right? Like being able to get your tax bill and just saying, hey, here's your tax bill. Go ahead and click this button right here to pay, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody in the software business, nobody wants to work for the government because the government is so hard to work for, right? Yeah. Everything is so slow. I mean, you get government grants, through Life by Music, right? Mm-hmm. It's tough, isn't it? When you're applying for all of that stuff and all the paperwork that you got to go through, all the stuff that you have to turn in. Yeah. Pain in the ass, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes. It takes forever. It's very extensive. And if you're not prepared to wait, you could sink,
Right.
We learned that the hard way because we didn't realize how long it would take.
You're like, oh, we're accepted. And then a year later, you're like, geez, we're still waiting on this stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It literally took almost, it was that pretty much.
Right.
You go to the IRS website and it's just like, oh, geez.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's the terrible thing about it too. Right. And
it's like that scene in Beetlejuice when he gets his car, he like pulls the tab, but then
I haven't seen the new Beetlejuice.
Well,
Is that the new one?
In the old one,
was it the old one too?
When the guy sprinkles the dust because he snags
and his
it,
head shrinks.
He just grabs it and he's like, "We'll look at the number." That's how it is in the government, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's I don't know. I hope, and I thought it was a fabulous idea. I'm like, wow, yes. Oh my God, how much more efficient would things be? And I'm starting to see it a little bit, like the DMV. it's a little bit easier to register a car these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I was able to. I just got a new car, like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was able to register that car online rather than going to the DMV.
That's cool.
Right. And I'm like, that's sweet, because going to the DMV is an all day damn occurrence
Oh, yeah.
in Las Vegas.
Well, you got to do the online. You can reserve your time
Right.
online. And I've been doing that for the last couple of years. So it's just changed everything.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Doge is planning to do that with everything.
Well, yeah, it's like this is great. Like make it super efficient, right? And the other thing that is really cool about Doge is that they have a deadline, right? There's a deadline. We're done with this project in 2 years.
Oh,
right.
okay.
It's like June 4th or something, right? Which is great because no government projects have deadlines.
Right.
Right. And it's like they've given themselves 2 years
Or budgets.
to straight. Exactly.
No
right?
deadlines or budgets.
No deadlines or budgets. But they've given themselves 2 years to straighten all this shit out.
Wow.
And then there's no reason for them to exist anymore. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the problem with their government is they keep opening up these different divisions and different departments of this and department of that and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we may not need any of those departments anymore, they're still ongoing, right?
Yeah.
They're still ongoing. So they can close and sell off all these buildings, right? All these empty buildings. I think Vivek said too, like, we're going to make everybody come back to work 5 days a week. Half the people right there are going to quit.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have to show up for work 5 days a week. Right. And then move those offices to more affordable facilities in other states.
Get them out of DC.
Get them out of DC. Get them out of New York City.
Yeah.
Right. Those places are insanely expensive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, then they can save a lot of money on that end too. But I like more than just saving money and where they can cut costs and save here and save there, is that the idea of developing things to make things faster and to make the government more efficient is where I think it's going to be.
Just the fact that it's been created is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Just the fact that there's a scenario of, hey, we want to make the government more efficient.
Right. We recognize this problem.
And now here's the department for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is good, you know, but man, it's still scary to think, you know, it's like, okay, who I wanted to win won, feel better about it, but it doesn't change the fact that the world is kind of on fire.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're on eggshells with other countries. You know,
well, I'm wondering what's going on with, like, you know, Ukraine, you know, the whole situation with Ukraine and Russia right now, because we did shoot some missiles into Russia and hit Russian targets, or at least Ukraine shot our missiles into Russia and hit Russian targets.
Yeah.
Russia's got you know, and from what I understand, Russia has troops from Korea, from North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
They brought those troops in. They told them that they were giving them other jobs, but instead they put them on the front lines. I don't know how true that evidence is or whatever, right? But then they also got troops from Yemen too. So, you know, it's like, can Donald Trump go back in and, you know, make deals with Putin, make deals with Xi, you know, and turn this thing around? Because right now it's like Russia, China, and North Korea and Iran are all kind of like grouped and on the same team now, right? And this has all just happened in the last, you know, 2 years.
Yeah.
I really think ever since, you know, I think our getting out of Afghanistan,
right,
and, you know, all of our brave soldiers that died in the process of that happening, and then us leaving, you know, $350 billion worth of, military equipment out there. Um, I think that really showed a weakness. And I think that these other countries saw that weakness
Yeah.
and then they decided they could do whatever they want, which I think is one reason why Putin, decided that, he could go into Ukraine and not have
Repercussions.
repercussions. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, it's like, okay, Zelensky knows that Donald Trump's getting back in office. So, I heard the other day that Zelensky said that, hey, I'm open to making a deal to stop the war in exchange for land. And it's like, well, geez, that's interesting. Is that because Donald Trump told him that the money funnel is shut
Getting
down?
cut. Yeah.
Right. And so all of a sudden now he has to make a deal. Um, Part of the reason why Tucker's in Russia right now, though, is he wants to find, I mean, from his perspective, he's like, we're on the brink of World War III and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
Right. Because we don't know what Russia thinks. And the reason why we don't know what Russia thinks is because Anthony Blinken, who is our Secretary of State, has no communication with Russia in 2 years. Zero communication.
That's absurd.
Right? The United States has not spoke with Russia in 2 years. Zero communication. So what are they thinking on their side? So that's why Tucker Carlson is going over there. That's why he's there, to try to find out what they're thinking.
Wow.
Right.
That's crazy. I didn't know that it's like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you turned your fucking phone off, bro.
And it feels good, man.
Right.
And it feels really good. It really does. But I was briefly mentioning, there is a part that I'm like, okay. The point was to get away so that I could understand how to be more intentional when I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get caught up in that scroll loop real easy.
Oh yeah.
Before you know, you're just looking at the most random things that seem interesting, but maybe they just are just because they're in front of your face, and it's like, oh, dude, I'm falling asleep. My girl's asleep. I already read. I did I read the old school analog, a book, and then I'm like, I'm still awake. Jump on. But,
what book are you reading right now, by the way?
It's called Awakening the Inner Buddha.
Okay.
Yeah, see, like totally just kind of attachments,
Okay.
just kind of cut that off. And, it's really cool, because Buddhism is not necessarily like a religion, but more of just a practice of letting go and offers you these peaceful route, for the human existence.
When I was in college, I did a project on Buddhism, and I went to a Buddhist temple.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's freaking awesome.
And they sent me to a Buddhist house, and the Buddhists were just about the nicest people that
crazy.
you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
They literally will give you the shirt off their back, and they have nothing, and they need nothing because they want for nothing. Right. So I remember he gave me a copy. What's the name of the basically the Buddhist Bible?
Maybe was it the Bodhisattva?
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah. They gave me a copy of that. They gave my partner, who was also working on the project with me, copy of that.
Yeah.
And
what'd you think? What'd you think of it?
I think it's an incredible way to live. When you don't want for anything, then you don't need anything. And then life gets a lot less stressful. Same thing like you were saying is just turning off and getting off of social media and all the lights, Tipitaka. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah. It's cool. You go back and you learn about the person that they considered to be Buddha, and he was a prince.
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to understand suffering. So he relinquished everything, just like
Yeah.
went away and just lived a life. Supposedly there's a time where he'd only have like one grain of rice,
Mm-hmm.
a day
Mhm.
for weeks until he was at the brink of death
Death.
from starvation,
Mhm.
so that he could really understand suffering. And he just released it all. And then in that meditation and, in that, he started to find the way,
Yeah.
the, you know, that all humans can achieve nirvana essentially.
Well, it's funny, like going back to just talking about, you know, money and, like we were saying with McGregor, you know, the more shit you have, the more shit you got to deal with.
The more shit you have.
Yeah. It's like, I have the boat out on the lake,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That boat had some parts stolen off of it.
That thing's stressful, dude.
It's stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of years ago. And since then, it's just you try to find a mechanic out there and you can't find a great mechanic out there.
Yeah.
Right. Finally found one after, 2 years. And I mean the boat sits in the dock out there and it's like an apartment, right? You can go out there and we have the jet skis and stuff. So you don't really need to take the boat,
Right.
but it's fun to take the boat, especially if you want to bring lots of people. You can put lots of people on the boat, take the boat out.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that we just don't use the boat enough, right? But you still have to remember that, okay, well, the slip fees, you got to pay the slip fees every month. Got to pay the slip fees. Every year you got to pay the insurance. Don't forget, you got to register it. And once you register it, you got to get out there. You got to put the stickers on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to go out there and start it every 3 months to make sure that the engines are cycling the gasoline. And when you have like 15 of those different types of things, shit starts to get really freaking annoying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
what's the point of having it?
Right. And so the less you have, the easier life becomes because there's less to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
really and how I've been. I'm like an extreme guy. Like I'm like 110% or like 0. I'm like go.
It's all in or nothing.
All in or nothing. And with everything, whether it being a night out on the town or fasting or turning off. So it's like, and I'm really wanting to find the middle path. Where it's like you can indulge and also be without, and it doesn't change you. And it's really interesting now as our career as recording artists, dude, for so long. I mean, now Life by Music has become its own entity, but Life by Music was a mantra and a motto, to begin with. And
Right.
like what that created as far as identity and persona and, what we're attached to believing that we are. I've really had some time here to just, all right, I want to actively redefine those things because, we are just like Tyler Jordan said is, you're not your fucking khakis, and it's like, it's so true, like we're programmed, so much so to, oh man, we think this way. We're goal oriented. We got to get this done. We have this project because we have to do that because we have to do this and to prove something, and to show that we're worth a damn and that we can take care of our own. And I'm like, okay, just slow down for a second, but also, it's like it's slowing down, but it's also just paying attention and becoming more aware of the breath that is in our lungs, and it's hard to explain because I'm still trying to figure it out because I'm getting antsy not being plugged in, like I want to get back in there. There's a part of me that's like, no, there's bad things happening in the world that I can't accept. or there's things I want to write that I feel are wrong. You know?
I mean, there's something to be said about that. You know, I have a friend, one of my really good friends. We got to have him on the show sometime.
Yeah.
Jamie Schwartzman, you
Oh,
know
I
him.
love Jamie.
Yeah. Fantastic guy. He, you know, just has this mindset that, you know, he doesn't want to watch the news. He doesn't want to see the bad things in the world. He doesn't want to react and interact with those things. And because he doesn't interact with those things, he lives a happy life.
Yeah.
Right. And there's something to be said about that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy that got to know everything. Right. I got to
Mhm.
know everything that's going on. And I want to know what's going on so I can analyze what's going on.
Mhm.
So then I can come up with a, I guess, solution in my own mind of
Yeah.
how things should be. And maybe then, you know, preach that
Mhm.
and hope that it can change my little inner circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I do that, then I'm doing, you know, my part to help better things,
Yeah.
you know, in this country and in the world and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You know, but there's definitely something to be said about that. And, you know, it kind of brings me to this other thought process of like, okay, so what are we here for then? Why are we here? Why are we on earth?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is the meaning of humanity? What are we supposed to be searching for something? You know, I had this conversation with my father-in-law over the weekend, and he's like, you know, we just need to focus on this country, you know, and, you know, he's a fan of Elon Musk. He's all, but I don't think he needs to be going and looking on Mars. We need to figure out what's going on this planet. And I was like, well, yeah, but there's a bigger picture to that, right? Because you know, there's lots of stuff that definitely we need to fix here in the United States and fix on this planet. You know, all the garbage that's in, you know, in the oceans
Oh, yeah.
and, you know, I don't know if you've
Scary.
seen have you seen that new Netflix buy? It's called like Super Buy or something like that, but it's how everybody is buying so many products now, right? They're like Amazon is causing this frenzy, right? And they wrote an algorithm and they know that algorithm and they understand even down to the color of the button who's going to choose that option more often than not, right? They have all of this shit figured out.
Yeah.
And so you have all these people that are buying and it's so easy to buy, right? And they're getting all this stuff and they're not using all this stuff, including myself, by the way.
Yeah, man. We got Amazon packages coming. You know, everybody
It's like
does.
stacking up,
Oh,
right?
man, yeah.
Well, all of this stuff is getting thrown away because we're not using it. And, you know, they mentioned one of the clothing companies, Sheen,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
right? And, you know, this clothing is really low end
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing and really, in essence, only really made to be worn once, right? So they're taking this clothing, they're wearing it once, and then they're throwing it away and they never use it again, right? And all of this stuff is being sold. All of our garbage is being sold to all of these third world countries. Then you go to these third world countries and you look at their countries and they're just riddled in garbage and garbs and clothing, and it's washing up on shores.
Yeah.
It's in the ocean.
It's really bad, man.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane how bad it actually is. And as we keep pumping through it, we're just going to keep piling all this stuff up.
Yeah.
And we have all this shit all over the place that we don't need,
Yeah.
that doesn't break down, right? And it's going to sit on this planet for ages.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Wait. It reminds me of
it reminds me that I have a phone call. This is insane.
You're getting cold, baby. Let me see here. You know, there's this quote that I absolutely love. Pull it up. When the last tree is cut down, the last fish is eaten, and the last stream poisoned, you will realize that you cannot eat money.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a really good point, man.
Yeah. It's, and you know, what is Amazon? It's the money making machine, man. Yeah.
It is.
And I mean, kudos to Bezos and his team for figuring it out. But there's definitely one thing.
Well, you get to a point though to where it's like now it's just greed, right? You had, on this same program on Netflix, they had the former CEO of Adidas. And he's like giving back to cleaning up the planet because he feels like he's been part of all this waste that's been put on the planet, because he's like, okay, well, and I'm sure that you've recognized this. And Alex, you probably know this stuff too, man, because how many different jerseys are there for a football team now and a soccer team now?
Yeah.
Right. They've got the throwback jersey. They've got the holiday jersey. They've got the, the white jersey. They've got the military jersey.
Home jersey, away jersey, classic jersey.
You got it.
Christmas jersey. Yeah.
Well, in Adidas, like they saw that. And from 2014, I think is when he took office as the CEO. He realized that this is the direction that Adidas needs to go, is we need to start making all these different iterations of things because people will keep buying them. And I know that you and I, when we were selling, your records, we were doing the same thing, right? We had different versions of your albums, different colors of your albums, because, and I know like Taylor Swift, my daughter, it was Taylor Swift's last album. You got all 4 albums to create the one poster.
Jeez.
Right? This was one corner of the poster. That's the other corner, the other corner, the other corner. So now they're not buying one album, they're buying 4.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, dude, like Pokemon cards back in the day when I was in elementary school. And dude, there was all these different, you had to catch them all.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it was them selling like, how many different ways can we sell the same thing?
Well, even when we were, cassettes had gotten really popular again when you guys came out with the Defy album. So what did we do?
Cassettes.
Let's make cassettes, right?
And those
the
sold
same
like
songs
man.
on the same. It's just a different type of media.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those things went out crazy too, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, going back to what we're chatting about a little bit about on Buddhism, is, like the cause and effect, and like the concept of karma and such. And like, man, the effect of all these, big convenient companies that are making our lives in our first world society so convenient. Like what is really going to be the effect of all of this?
What's the cost of it?
Yeah. And I don't know,
Do you feel like things were easier before Amazon, or do you think that Amazon made things more complicated?
I think that they've definitely made things more convenient, but in convenience, there's definitely complications. It's like going to McDonald's every night instead of making that home cooked meal. Your artery is going to have some complications after time.
Right.
And the instant gratification.
But what if they made healthy food? What if the drive-through was healthy for you? Why do fast foods have to be unhealthy?
Because it's cheaper.
Yeah. Is it?
I think it is.
Or is it a way to make food more expensive because it's better for you?
I mean, that's a great point too. Yeah.
Right.
As far as I know, you go a bottle of water is $2 and a can of soda is $1.
Who thought up the idea that water can cost money?
I know.
We pay for it.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Do I sound like Biden now?
Jeez, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That we pay for water. We pay for water because it's stored inside of plastic that's bad for you, that'll kill you.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
We were just talking about that over the weekend too. And it's like, so here's another iteration of a product. Okay. So my wife was all about, for the last couple of years, these little plastic Tupperware containers that, she could make my lunch in. And I'm not much of a take my lunch to work kind of guy. I'm a kind of
you like fresh,
got to get out of the office kind of guy.
Okay.
Let me get out. Let me just decompress.
Yeah.
For an hour. But she's these little Tupperwares, right? And she'd take these little Tupperwares, and when we have dinner, and she puts all the food, the leftovers, in the Tupperwares. Then she takes those Tupperwares and she puts them in the microwave and she cooks them up. And she's like, "Oh, look how organized they are, and they fit inside each other, and they go inside the cabinet, and I can pull them at any time and fill them up." Now it's like, well, all that plastic, you're heating that shit up in the microwave. Plastic's bad for you. So guess what we have? We're now back to glass. Okay, so Pyrex is back to where it is, right? And Pyrex was where it was before, but it's not as easy to store. So we went with this other stuff called plastic that, you can mass produce, number one. And number two, it stores a lot easier. It doesn't break, right? And so they get us coming and they get us going, right? It's the different iteration of the same product that we already have. And here's my wife walking down the Costco aisle like, "Oh, look, they have the Pyrex glass. You know why we need to get glass? Because glass is better for you, and it doesn't heat and give off chemicals when it's heated in the microwave."
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, look at us.
I know, man. We're just puppets.
Yeah.
Sell us more.
Sell us more.
Do you ever watch the movie Idiocracy?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's it's hard to watch. It's really funny. You would think it's like some slapstick stoner, movie. Yeah, I think it was in like 2000, early 2000, 2002, 3, 4, somewhere around there. But it's just a dumbed down society. Not to say that anybody, it's just. Not to say you guys are dumb for going from plastic. It's just like, dude, we do it too, man. It's like, oh man, the movie, there's some scary, similarities to how life is now. And they kind of called it, they pulled one of those Simpson prophecies, but again, it's another reason why I'm like, I wanted to just, you can go too far down the rabbit hole, like, and forget, like, who are you? Like, what's, like, if it all went away, like the responsibilities and goals and the initiatives and the clothes and the cars, and it's like, what are we? What are we at the essence? And it's positive. The cool thing is that it's really positive. Like, humans are like, most of them are great, and they just want to be heard and loved and be a part of something and have purpose. From what I understand, I'm not. But
so going back to that question, is that what we're here for? Is so that we have purpose?
Man, now we going deep.
We getting deep, man.
We going deep. Well, I think it's about the opportunity of being within that purpose. Like, I don't know if it's like a predetermined purpose, but I think there's major gratitude in getting to play the game of, hey, there's this purpose, and I get to chase it. I get to be a part of it. And it's not the destination, it's the journey. But like, really, like, the purpose is, do we have a purpose? Well, that's our journey. It could change at any point, and like, another one of the tenets of this book, one of the books I'm reading, there's so many books on Buddhism, but this is the one that gravitated towards me, is keeping death close by. And for a long time, man, I ever since our cousin passed away, I really didn't realize how fearful I became of death. And I'm not okay with it still, but to have a really great relationship with death gives us the opportunity to really enjoy life better, and it's not about, in my case specifically, about having the, top 10 radio single or the big tour, or, the 6-pack abs that'll get you more, album sales or something, or whatever stories that we tell ourselves, And it's just like, okay, I, death is a close friend, that I'm aware of, that I want to accept more so, and then you accept it and you can, I don't know, it kind of makes life a little better, as weird as it sounds, because then I'm like really grateful, on Thanksgiving. uh, Usually on Thanksgiving, it's like an opportunity for me to like text all like the people I care about that I'm thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
But, I just didn't want, I like stayed away from my phone.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. And
Matter of fact, I don't think I saw your text till the next day.
yeah. And that was the tough thing too. I was like, I gotta text JB and Melissa, like
Yeah.
so I only had, I only sent a few, but I was just really just in the moment of stuffing my face with pie. But
no, I was really taking to what you were saying, before about like decompressing and kind of staying away. And I tried to almost the entire weekend just stay away from my phone and stay offline.
yeah.
There was a couple things I was doing because I was shopping, because it was Melissa's birthday was over the weekend. It was on the 30th.
Oh, dude. I didn't text her. I got to text her, dude.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, but I had to do a few things. I had to do a few things for that. And then her dad bought an electric bike.
Nice.
And so I was searching for like, the options that he had. So I was on there doing that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I tried to just stay away from the phone, and I'm trying to like put it on the charger when I get home.
Yeah.
Like put it on the nightstand and leave it alone. And at 10 o'clock at night, it turns off too. Like it turns into like night mode or whatever, where it doesn't, no chimes happen and shit until 7 a.m. So trying to do that so that I don't get those things happening in the middle of the night too,
Yeah.
I mean, when you guys were on tour, shit, I was getting stuff, I mean, when we had all the bands, anything that happened wrong, it could have been 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's hey, dude, we're down the bus.
The wheel fell off.
Wheel fell off, man. What do we do?
Yeah, you're like texting like, why is there a charge for the emergency room?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, everything's okay.
Don't worry about it.
New Orleans, man. Gorilla, damn, escaped the zoo and punched me in
the eye. You ever catch that gorilla punch you in the eye? The search continues, mama.
The search continues, mama. Yeah, it's a really it's good though. It's been good. I'm getting antsy though. Like I keep mentioning, I want to be. I wish there was a way to not just get to. There is, to be more intentional. Like, and I know that it's important because I've been so vocal. I saw a friend at the gym months and months and months ago that I hadn't seen in a very long time, and he used to be a best friend. And I was like, man, I haven't seen you. Him and his parents were at the gym. I'm like, wow, dude, it's been like you just disappeared on like the whole group, but we knew what was, you did this and you went there. And then, he said something to me. He's like, oh, I'm his mom was asking, what do you do now? Are you still in music? I'm like, yeah, I run a music organization. And then my friend's like, yeah, Life by Music. Yeah, I know. And then he said something. He's like, yeah, I follow your persona. I know what you're going on with your persona. And I was just like, okay. I was like, okay, cool, man. Whatever, dude. Like, that's such a you comment to make.
Yeah.
And now I know why we haven't talked in a long time. Like, I still love you, but
gotta go.
Some things haven't changed. And it was just, but at the same time, I thought about that. It was like persona. And I have a big persona that I've created for myself. And I'm not done creating it too. Like I can't stop. Like things are getting bigger and bigger. I met the governor on Saturday night. We've known him, Lombardo. Yeah. And met him again. And I'm chasing him for a
Why
meeting.
didn't you ask him come on the podcast?
I know. It's like
he'd be like, I'm there right now. When can we book it?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that's the thing is, I want to sit down. I want the initiative, the LBM initiative, it requires, uh, it requires power and responsibility. And I can't just like disappear.
Yeah.
Because first off, I do, half a little bit. I want to disappear a little bit, but
Mhm.
then come back,
Mhm.
then disappear, then come back and disappear, So that is what I'm defining as we speak.
Nice.
Yeah. This is doing the podcast is the most social thing.
Most digital thing you've
Yeah. Nobody
done, huh?
knows what's going, like I just like disappeared,
Yeah.
and it's not like there's like hundreds of thousands of people who give a heck what we're doing, but
Yeah.
there are people that that pay attention,
Well, yeah, no matter how small you know, the circle for you or large the circle for you is,
Yeah.
breaking away from that, you know, I'm sure has a ton of benefits on it.
Yeah, yeah. For instance, well, big sponsor this year that's come in. He's
Mhm.
also one of my guitar students. I really want to have him on the podcast. We're gonna get him on. Uh, Tremendously successful lawyer here in town, and you know, he's sponsored Life by Music. It's just one of the guys where it's just like you hope when you're running an organization that you just like can wake up with that like email of like so and so donated, and it just comes out of nowhere and there's zeros on it. That's
Mhm.
like you really obviously you work for stuff, but you pray too that like, oh man, there's gonna be that moment where someone sees something or like, hey, I donate. Here you go, boom.
Yeah.
And he's one of those kind of guys.
Mhm.
This year where it's just like, boom. I just woke. I'm like, whoa, man, awesome. And
That's
then
great.
they created a little social media post, and we had a guitar session. He's like, dude, check out this post. I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. I haven't been on social media. He's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, oh dang.
Like
And
he's been
like,
he's
it's just you
noticed
can
that you're not
notice that
Mhm.
there's no interaction. And then another friend of ours, Stephanie, she told me some news, and I'm like, I haven't been on social media, and she's like, yeah, I noticed, and it's like
I think
it's so it's
I think I might have noticed too, because I'm still connected with the otherwise Facebook Messenger. And
Mhm,
I think I saw like a lot of posts because sometimes I'll go and I'll get a messenger thing, right? And I
mhm.
go and click it and I'm like, shit, that's an otherwise one.
Right, it
Right.
comes up,
Yeah. But then it's like a list of people is like, where y'all at? What's
yeah,
going on? I haven't
yeah,
heard from you.
I
Blah, blah,
know,
blah, 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 blah.
yeah, yeah, and that was probably the biggest thing too, is just like staying up with the Joneses of like the band and stuff,
Mhm.
like, dude, I want my brother to be happy and healthy and inspired, and I want to be the same. And I want our fans to be safe and healthy. But besides that, like, dude, I don't need to, like, I don't care,
Mhm.
like listen to the music. And when we post the music, great. Like, I do miss playing shows, and we're playing a show at the end of the month, which is
Well, yeah,
awesome.
I was gonna say you guys are playing with Buck Cherry
Yeah.
for New Year's Eve in
Yeah.
Mesquite,
Yeah,
right?
dude, it's gonna be
Yeah,
great. But man,
I'll be there.
hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
But, dude, the industry's so stupid, in my opinion. Like, or at least like the circles that we were in.
Mhm.
Like you got to know a couple guys, and if you ever say anything wrong to those guys, man, it, good luck. Like
Yeah,
you're done. And you know what that does to the art? It
yeah,
screws up the art a lot.
yeah.
And you know, I'm getting more fired up about playing. Where it's like I just want to play guitar. I'm like,
Mhm.
you're get, it's working. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
Buddha.
yeah.
And I do. I really do. I want to get healthy and play guitar and stuff. So
It's
yeah.
amazing that just exactly what you're saying. And I was talking about you guys the other day, and how that you could do just the simplest things wrong these days, and not just you guys,
Yeah.
but anybody. Pete Hegseth, he's a Fox News guy.
Mhm.
But he was also a major in the military, right? And he did a lot of stuff for the military.
Mhm.
He ran a couple of organizations, that had to do with veterans
Yeah.
affairs and stuff. And apparently he made some mistakes in that. And this guy is who Trump nominated for the Department of Defense,
Right.
right? The defense secretary. And that's a big deal. That dude's would be in charge of a lot of stuff. I think it's like 3 million people like he's overseeing.
Wow.
Right.
I actually think that I saw that.
Okay.
I was at the gym.
Okay.
And I saw the headline of it. And I was not to interrupt, but it's
I want you to interrupt.
It's so funny that you say that, bring this up, because one of my really great friends who I love dearly, I respect him, but we did not agree on who to vote for. And he was very, very passionate. I just was like, okay, dude, like you do what you, but he was like, no, you don't understand, text like long. We were at the gym after Trump won.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say anything to him about it.
Okay.
And he didn't say anything to me.
Okay.
But then, we're at the gym and we see that, and he goes, you see who Trump picked? You see who Trump picked for? And I just I look up there. I was like, I got to check out one of his books and see what he's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just left it like that,
Right.
And it was just like a very, just like, not one side or the other, but just like an intelligent, like when people are so quick to form opinions, like, but they don't know anything about the person that they're forming an opinion about.
Right.
And like, I've never said that before. I've formed opinions on people like this. But for some reason, what I wanted, rather than to be right against my best friend, I just wanted to bring it back to this like efficient dialogue of like, that's the person now. I should probably read about him.
Yeah.
And he was just, and he wasn't mad. It was like this diffusion that took place just because he's well read.
Yeah.
And I think that I was just like, I should read a book about him.
Well, I mean, maybe that's what deep down inside he was thinking about too. Well, maybe before I judge, maybe I should find out about the person too.
No,
right? Or
no.
Okay. Okay.
You see this guy, and he's like in military gear. I'm like, okay, well, I should, because he's like, you see, who he picked for the military, and then like it flashed like a picture of him in uniform.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should read a book about him, so I know about him.
Well, for me with this particular guy too, and I like this guy. I like this guy because he's a military guy, and by default, you get a lot of credibility right off the bat from me being a military guy, right?
Yep.
But he was in a bunch of sessions today, in the Senate, going through meetings and stuff like that too. They're basically gauging whether or not this guy
is competent,
is competent enough to be this. And, when you're, a lot of the allegations have to do with like alcohol and stuff like that. Infidelity, a little bit of money mismanagement things going on. I don't know how true or not true those things are. I haven't read enough to know about it. I didn't know about any of this stuff before.
Right.
But it's given me cause to, well, I guess I better start doing a little bit of my research on this gentleman too.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not the right choice, and there's, kind of information going around now too that Trump's going to pick DeSantis for this position if, he doesn't think that Hegseth can get confirmed. But, I guess going back to the main point of my story is, you guys had made a few mistakes, in your past, doing some festivals and those kind of things. And it kind of wrote you off in a sense that, you didn't get to stay in that position specifically because these small mistakes were made and certain people wrote you off, which kind of put you in a different trajectory.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think was, I don't think it was fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, dude.
And I was talking to a guy who had just started listening to your music, and he's like, "God, these guys are so
The
good."
otherwise effect, right?
Exactly.
Where it's like, dude,
It's
these guys
almost
are
that's what
so
it. Yeah.
yeah, these guys are so good, man. Why da da da. That's like, it's a lot of things. I talked to my brother. We were all feeling sad after my brother and the family got to come into town, which was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But
I didn't get to see him. I didn't
I
get to see
know
the
it
kiddos.
was nice, man. It really filled my cup.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Filled my cup. But then when they leave, it's like, oh man, dang it. But I knew he was sad too. I knew we were all sad about it. And then we started talking about the music a little bit, and he's like, I have these regrets. He's like, I didn't want to start a rock band to have regrets. That's not why I started a rock band. I was like, dude, I know, man, but like a lot of the things were just kind of like it's how it goes sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I was watching. It just happens, man. Like for instance, there's these bodybuilders. I can't even get Colin Vaughn something and Chris Bumstead. I think that's their younger guys now, but they're like the Bumstead guy is like the Olympia. He's at the
Okay.
top, and then
Okay.
this other guy, Colin Vaughn something. It's interesting name. He was like 6 years, 4 or 5, 6 years ago or something like that. They're doing a bicep curl together where they're both on the Olympic bar.
Mhm.
And it's something they were like lifting, like heavy weight. And you can see that this guy Colin is like bigger than Bumstead. It's just like when you look at the video and they're going to do it, and he had done it before, and then his bicep tore.
Ooh.
Yeah, his bicep tore. And it's just like he had to get surgery, couldn't work out anymore, went into a downward spiral because now you're not this Matt. And Bumstead went on to become 6-time Olympia, And it was like,
Interesting.
if there's one guy that could have potentially, been there, it was that guy. And
Right.
just and it's just things happen, man. Like, okay, you're going to regret doing that thing, like, yeah, there's some pretty specific things that I think, my brother and I could have stayed away from or something, with drinking and being crazy, being, and in the wrong places, not reading the room. But dude, it was a really weird time when we blew up because, we were also going through the biggest tragedy of our lives. I don't think we'll ever, well, I hope that nothing, but because it was like the first time of a tragedy, now, God, I pray that, nothing of that nature happens again with our family. I wouldn't wish that on anybody to go through something like that. But with our cousin, he was like right there with us. It was like we we and then we made it happen, but he was gone. And so we're just like we didn't know how to deal with it, And so that caused, I think, that little extra sharpness that people were like, "Whoa, dude, these guys are like this like scares me." Like, well, dude, that guy's freaking really that guy's like dealing with something that he can't explain right now. Now, in retrospect, we can really understand, like, dude, we had PTSD from all that stuff, man. And, I never knew that you could have PTSD if you weren't a soldier,
Right. Yeah.
until one day I was like, dude, I think we have PTSD from Kozo. My brother's like, hell yeah, we do, and still dealing with it, man. I'm about to buy a house
Yeah.
in his neighborhood.
Yeah, man.
Isn't that crazy?
That's awesome, dude.
It's a trip, and but
You
then
guys pretty close on that, by the way?
super close.
Yeah. All right.
By the time I think we're like super close.
All
Like
right.
the appraisal happened today, kind of thing.
Nice. Okay.
So
That's great, man.
and it's right down the street from where he lived. And at first, I was like, nah, I'm good. Even though this house for our budget and for what we want, this is awesome. I immediately wrote it off. I was like, nah, I can't do it. But then like I was like thinking about it more, looking at other houses. I'm like, dude, like what? And then this like voice started like coming up, or this feeling. It wasn't even a voice really, but just like a feeling of like, dude, you gotta, what are you doing? Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
And you know, I was trying to explain it. I was on the phone with somebody and I was talking about this exact thing. And I look up and I feel the sun hit me, hit my eyes. My eyes are closed, and I'm just like, you know, I want to live in the grace of his memory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we are going forward with this, because even Jess was like, look, I really like it, but I totally understand if you don't, like, dude, it's literally like right around the corner.
Right.
And it is weird. It's strange, but beautiful.
It's almost like perfect.
Yeah. There's something to it. There's like, there's a sense of, okay, familiarity and sadness, but man, all this opportunity to grow,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to build something new and fresh. I'm like, and to live in the grace of his memory, you know? And it's taken 13 years for me to even think that was even possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do my best to do it. But dude, when we were on the road, man, we were really like going through that. And we were trying, like, it didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Like all the, it was cool and we rocked. And that's probably what made our shows that good.
Yeah.
Because we were just like emotional Tasmanian devils.
Yeah.
But you know, c'est la vie, dude. I don't, you know, finally I'm like, so, because I'm also off of social media. So I don't like, cause then I know about the guys that made those decisions that really, really hurt us. And if they weren't like shitty dudes, they wouldn't have done it the way they did it, in my opinion, you know, and mess with the trajectory. But so I know who they work with. I know what they're still doing. I know how the snakes stay alive, you know, and they slither around the industry and just keep projects going. And that was one of the reasons why I'm like, dude, I don't even want to see any of this. I don't care, dude. I don't care about these guys. And I'm really getting to a point where I'm like, dude, I don't fucking care about them.
Yeah.
I really don't, you know. And it's like, all right. And now, since I've been really feeling that way, I'm like, dude, I want to rock.
Right,
you know, but
yeah.
like, you don't want to rock when you're too busy being upset about all that happened.
Right.
You know, and Alex, if you can bleep that out so we can post it, but you know, that's where I'm at right now. And then I want to keep that going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that, man.
Yeah. But there's good things happening, man. There's good things, you know. I think it's the but when I'm reading the Buddhist book too, I'm like, dude, this is really cheesy, man. You know, like some of it, I'm like,
oh, you didn't like it?
No, some of it, I'm just like, man, I gotta put the gloves on, man. You know, there's a part of me that still wants to wrap my hands up and like feel what it's like to get punched, you know, a little bit. Just, you know.
I think those kind of things keep you alive. They, you know, you stay alive with that struggle, you know,
the friction.
It's like, the friction. Remember we were talking about that. It's like a match pack. It's the friction.
The friction. I live right in the friction. Baby.
Right. And living in that friction, I think, is definitely positive for your body, you know, for your well-being, all of those kind of things. You know, I think I feel most alive when, you know, things are on the brink, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Things are on the brink, you know, kind of like, you know, Joe Rogan taking that, you know, his ice dips that he does, you know, and it's like just bringing your body right to that brink of like, I can't take it anymore.
Dude, are you guys going to get a sauna?
Well, I talked to Melissa about that. I told her about the sauna and she's like,
dude,
we don't need a sauna.
Yes, dude.
But I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool. And she's like, she loves going to the sauna. So she goes to the sauna at the gym. She hasn't been in a while, you know, since, you know, the diagnosis with the Lyme disease and everything else. She hasn't, she's still waiting to go back to the doctor to find out about all that stuff. But I told her, I was like, we should get a sauna. We should do the sauna thing, because she does like it and it does make her feel good. But, and I think like even the red light and all that kind of
That,
stuff,
dude,
there's definitely,
there's benefits to it.
there's
so
definitely
much.
benefits there.
That talking simply about friction, just heating your body up,
Mhm.
and getting the sweat going, man. Oh,
Mhm.
dude, it's pretty tremendous. I'll keep lobbying for you guys to get it.
Nice. Yeah. Throw a couple texts her way that,
Yeah,
because it'd be a good idea
yeah, man.
for sure.
So what do we think, man? It's fun. It's fun to just sit here and chat.
Well, I had some people tell me, like, hey, I kind of like the idea of you guys just
Chopping it up.
chopping it up. And I was like, all right, well,
Let's do it.
hell, let's do a couple of those. We'll do a couple of those in between, the guests and stuff that we have on, and
Yeah.
just kind of try to, you know, uh, I guess for lack of a better term, have a little bit of differentiality going on
Yeah.
with what we're doing here,
Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
kind of play around with different layouts, and let's see what happens.
This is the first time we've got to do something creative where we didn't have the opinions of someone else that
Yeah.
could mess with it,
Right.
And I think that, not even subconsciously, but just like we're like, oh, dude, it's got to meet this. And right out the gate of us starting,
Mm-hmm.
like it just happened to be someone reached out and was like, hey, you want to talk to this guy to get signed so you guys could do this. So it put this pressure of, we were like right back in the industry.
Yeah.
We were like right about to sign a deal right out the gate, and then it was like, okay, let's come back a little bit with the podcast. Let's figure out what it is and just kind of let it happen.
Yeah, and there's been, a lot of, just based on the research that I'm doing, and a lot of the successful podcasts they were this thing before they became that thing,
Yeah.
before they turned into this thing, before they turned into what they are today.
Yeah.
And for me, it's great to explore, like us just doing different takes on
Yeah.
Ain't Done Yet.
I think that's when you ask about like what the purpose, like why are we here? And it's like the opportunity to
Mhm.
be is why we're here.
Okay.
Like, it's like we get to be, we get to live within
Mhm.
like, like the Beatles, they're like, love, man, love is the way.
Yeah.
Those guys are the most brilliant songwriters and artists of ever.
Yeah.
Many would believe. And I hated them in high school.
Really?
I was like,
Yeah.
such a whatever, dude. The Beatles, man, sing this hard rock. Yeah. Like really try to and it's just, we get the opportunity to be and like live and make things better because there is a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the tenets, not to go on this whole Buddhist trip, but I'm just reading the book right now. So it's fresh.
Yeah, it's fresh in my mind.
Is like understanding that there is suffering,
Mhm.
and like there's so much suffering, but there you can also live your life in a manner that can alleviate suffering,
Mhm.
and you also don't have to suffer as much, and that will contribute to less suffering
Mhm.
overall. So that's something that's very interesting to me because I think
That's what I always thought was interesting about that religion in particular, is the suffering brings you the peace.
yeah yeah uh, it's an interesting one because it's not necessarily. I mean, it is a religion. It's considered a religion, but then when you kind of dig into like how people kind of break it down and understand,
Is it more of a way of life, or
yeah,
is it a religion?
it really
It's a way of
is.
living, right?
Yeah, it's not as like got to do this, got to do that. It's like it's just it's so much more peaceful.
I don't know if my brain doesn't. I wish my brain would allow those kind of things. I wish my brain would allow this kind of like being okay just sitting in my own silence. And like if I go out to the mountains and I do that, it's like getting to the point of where I'm in the middle of nowhere in that position of silence. It was the whole process of getting there that was more important. Right? It's like, okay, I'm here and I'm silent. All right, now what's next?
Now what's next? I did
Right?
it. Yeah.
Right, I did it. Yeah, I made it here, but you know, I got to do something else. Now, like, let's go home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
there's nothing
that's
wrong
what's,
with that though, dude. You know, like that's the
I
that's the
ask
cool thing,
myself,
too.
is
There's
that
not.
the
It's
problem? Is it a problem that
I think there's got to be a balance, you know, like that. I think that it's the most important thing is like you're wrong. This, like, just like with this country, you know, with like left, right, like, dude, the middle way, you know, like, how do we get here? Because like, we're just going to fight until we're dead and disagree. But, you know, to kind of relate it to that internal, like, oh man, I want to rock out. I want to be seen. I want to, you know, oh, that's arrogant. That's superficial. Well, go sit in the room and meditate, you know? And then you're like, dude, this is not what it's about. But if you could do both and understand the beauty of both, then you're in this good zone, man.
Yeah.
You know, where like you are that powerful, you're not just one side, and, you know, and like, and that's, I think that's the path to figure, you know, that's how do we figure out how to find that
little bit of everything?
ground? Yeah. The middle ground, how to be so freaking sharp, you know, so sharp that you can hang with the wolves, you know, but then also like sleep with the sheep, you know, and relax and chill out, you know, and just count sheep. I don't know. That's the thing. But
I like that. I like that to end with, man, is that sharp enough to stick with the wolves, but soft enough to sleep with the sheep.
Yeah, man. Just getting kicked back, you know? Like, dude, play some video games, but then also go conquer, you know, go conquer the world too. You know, go conquer your world, but also be able to relax.
Yeah.
Get right in here. Man.
Find that middle ground.
Yeah, man. Here's to the middle, dude.
Here's to the middle.
All right, we'll catch everybody. Thank you guys for listening to Ain't Done Yet, and we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Peace.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.